Hey everyone, in this video what we are going to do is we are going to basically understand what SIPp is and how do we install SIPp on a CentOS system. So basically SIPp is an open source traffic generator tool which generates a lot of calls using this tool. So let's say if you want to do a load testing on your any of the UC product, for example call manager or maybe any asterisk or any other server, right? So you can use SIPp kind of a tool. There are a lot of tools available over the web. Some of them are freeware and some of them are paid one. So SIPp is an open source which you can use, and you can basically simulate the UAC and UAS scenarios, so user agent and use agent server. And now with SIPp, right, you can test out like how you can basically play around with the call rates, like how many calls you want to send to the servers. For example, let's say you want to do a load testing, right? So obviously for load testing, either what you can do is you can make multiple calls from one phone to another phone, but however it is very time consuming when you are trying to make calls and do the load testing on your servers. But using such tools like SIPp, your machine where you have installed this server, it can act as a client and it can start sending n number of calls to the server, and the server will get a lot of traffic, and the server can handle the calls, and you can see the statistics on the tools, whatever tools are available, and see how the star load testing works for you, right? Now you can play around with the call rate, you can play around with the duration. If you want to play around with let's say if you want to play some message before the call is answered and before the call is disconnected, you can do that as well, right? So it is a great tool, I would say, like for load testing, and I believe this can also be used in some sort of automation where you can daily let's say call x number of lines and see if the calls are going through. If in case the calls are not going through, then probably you can write a command in such a way that if the call fails, send an email to the service desk that this particular number is not working or this particular line is not working. Though I have not used this in real time, I have not tested this though thoroughly, but I believe this can be done where if in case if the calls are failing, it can start reporting those issues about those lines. But however, as I said, like I have not tested it, so I cannot comment at this moment, but I'm going to definitely test this out, and will circle back on this wider forum if this is going to work or not. So what we are going to do is basically we are going to install SIPp on a CentOS machine. So you can also install this on a Windows machine by installing a SIGWin on your Windows machine, and then install SIPp tar file and play around with this. So there are various flavors available of SIPp. If you look at the release here, right, so there can be multiple releases available. So if you go down, let's see what are the releases. Let me check for the releases here. Okay, I have to look for the release. Let me see where the release is. Just give me a second. Okay, so here is the release. So 3.7.0 being the latest one, and 3.7.0-RC1, and then 3.6.1, 6.0, 5.3, like this. So you'll get a lot of release. So in our video what we are going to do is we are going to play around with 3.7.0, right? So as I mentioned, like it can generate good amount of calls, whatever number you wish to, from this server to call manager or maybe to asterisk, and there should be someone available on the other side on the remote end to answer those calls. So You can also send the calls to maybe any contact center or maybe Unity connection auto attendant, where the calls can be routed via the call manager to those Unity connection, and you can simulate or test the loads. So this is how the screen is going to look like when you run the command, and it is going to send the invite messages, 180 ringing, 200 OK, acknowledge, and your RTP stream establishes. Then the server, the client sends a bye, and then you receive it 200 OK. So this is how it is going to look like. So let's do one thing. Let's first start with the initial installation, and then further what we can do is we can play around with the load testing, right? So let's get started. So let's go ahead and install SIPp on our workstation. So you can basically install a SIPp in a couple of flavors, like for example Linux box, CentOS, or maybe Windows machine. So in Windows machine it is not a very straightforward, but still you need to have an application called Sigwin installed, and on top of Sigwin you can install SIPp software. Otherwise, if you want to install it on a Linux version or a CentOS version, what I have done is since I'm planning to install it on CentOS, so I have downloaded the minimum CentOS version that's available on the CentOS website. That's something that I have downloaded, which is around 1 GB, and on top of the CentOS minimum OS version, I'm going to install SIPp. So you can also use any Linux flavor if you wish to, but in my case I'm going to use CentOS. So let's go ahead and create a new virtual machine. So I'll click on typical, click on next, and here if you look at here, like on my E drive ISO folder, I have installed the ISO file downloaded, which is the CentOS 7 version 7 x86 64-bit 64 minimal 2009 ISO. So this is close to a 1 GB file if I remember correctly. So this is what I've downloaded. If you want to use the latest and the greatest one, you can go ahead and use that. But since this was something that was available already with me for some other work, so I've used the same CentOS. So I click on next. Now here you need to give a virtual machine name. So let's keep a virtual machine name. Maybe I'll give it as SIPp, something like that. Click on next. It's asking for a maximum disk size, so let it be 20 GB. That should be more than sufficient. I'll click on next. Customize hardware. Now I'll modify the network adapter to use the bridge connection, and rest of the parameter I'll keep it as default. Close, finish. Now I'll hit enter in order to install the CentOS. Hit enter again. So this installation may take some time, around 10 minutes approx. First it will take check the disk, whatever we have uploaded here as an ISO file, right? It'll check if it is correct, if it is as per what it is supposed to be. If there are no errors, it'll go ahead and install the operating system. So now it is going to start the wizard. Now the wizard screen will appear. We'll configure the basic settings on the wizard. So it says welcome to CentOS. We'll choose the language is English, and location is English India here. Click on continue, and now here is asking for the date time. Will not change any of this. So what we'll do is we will check the installation destination, select the virtual machine hard drive that we have created, click on done, and then what we can also do is we'll also configure the network and the host name. I will do one thing. I'll name this as UCC SIPp, something like this. Apply, and then turn this on, and then configure the network Ethernet. And now here I'm going to choose the IPv4 setting as manual and click on add. Let's give the IP address 172.160.99, subnet mask 24. It's my gateway address, and define the DNS server. That should be okay. Click on save, click on done, click on begin installation. And now we'll also set the root password. So give a password here, click on done. And now this installation will begin. So now it will install approx 300 some packages. So while it is getting installed, what I'll do is I'll pause the video for some time. So once the installation is completed, I'll resume the video. Okay, so the installation is completed. So now what we'll do is we'll reboot the server, and the server reboot will take around a minute for it to come up. So let's wait. And what I'll do is whatever IP addresses I have assigned, I'll do a SSH to that particular IP address, and we should be able to log into the server. Okay, so server is up. Okay, I've used putty here and I am being prompted with the SSH login. I'll enter the root credential, whatever we have defined initially, and the password. Okay, so we are logged in. So what I'll do is first and the foremost, we'll update the Linux box here, or CentOS box, yum update. So it'll take around 5 to 10 minutes depending on your internet speed, and update all the packages on the backend. So once the packages are installed, so what we'll do is we'll download the required file on the system. Okay, so I'll say yes to the install and download the package. So it is going to install like around 116 packages. So what I'll do is I'll pause the video for now. So once the installation is completed, I'll resume the video. Okay, so installation is completed. So what we'll do is now we'll download the package which is required for the SIPp. So this is SIPp 3.7.0 is what we are looking for. You can get it from github.com, SIPp releases, and we are looking for 3.7.0. You can plan to install the older version or maybe the latest version. It's up to you, but in my case what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the 3.7.0. there are further other versions as well, I think 3.7.0.1 or maybe some other versions as well, I believe. So let's install 3.7.0. so I'll copy this link address, and what I'll do is I'll do a wget. Looks like we don't have wget here in order to download the file. Either you can install the wget package on this Linux box, CentOS box. Otherwise you can use FileZilla and upload the file manually. But let's install the wget here. Install wget. Okay, so we'll say yes. So the package installation is completed. Now we'll do wget and then this IP address. Okay, so the file is downloaded here. So if you look at this location, so this file is downloaded. Now let's do one thing. Let's unzip this file, extract this file, right? So I have a list of commands available with me because I'm not very much or I would say like not very good in Linux commands, but let's use those commands in order to extract the files. So these are the files, or these are the commands that we will need today in order to make this work. Now what we'll do is we'll unzip using tar, this command, tar minus xzvf, and then the file name. Okay, so the file is extracted. So the file is extracted in this particular folder. Now before that, what we need to do is we need to install some other commands in order for this SIPp to work. So let's install that. I'll copy this from the command here and paste it here. In case if the screen is not very much visible for you, what I can do is I can change the font setting here. Let's do one thing. Let's change the font setting. Okay, 16. Okay. Okay, I hope this is visible now. Okay, hit enter. So it is going to take around 5 to 10 minutes for the packages to install. Of course, it depends on your internet connectivity as well. So it's around 182 MB as per this package here. So let's wait for it to install and get completed. So what I'll do is I'll pause the video again for now, and once installation is completed fully, I'll resume the video. Okay, so this is completed. So let's go with the next step. We'll install this as well and say yes. Okay, this installation is also completed. Let's install the third one. Okay, this is also completed. Now what we can do is now when you try to run this particular file, you may get some error. So let's go into that folder, cd SIPp. Okay, I'll run this command. So if you look at here, right, I'm getting an error like my CMake version is currently older version, but 2.8.12.2. But what is minimum required in order to run this command is CMake version 3.0.4. So let's show you here, CMake minus version. So if you look here, my CMake version is 2.8.12.2. Now in order to update the CMake, we have to install the package again for the CMake. Let's do one thing. Let's go back and let's install the package. Okay, so this installation of CMake will take around another 5 to 10 minutes for it to complete. So what I'll do is once installation is once the file is downloaded and completed, right, then I'll resume the video again. So let's unzip this file. Now let's go to the folder. Now let's run this command. Okay, so by the time this is happening, I'll pause the video again. I'll resume the video once this is completed. Okay, so now what we can do is we can run the command sudo make. So this will take another couple of minutes. So I'll again pause the video. Once make is completed, I'll resume the video. Okay, so the make is completed. Now we'll copy sudo make install. Okay, so this is also completed. We'll copy this command, and now here what we need to do is we need to add this to the path. Copy this parameter here and come here. What I'll do is I'll tag this one and write this file, enter. And now what I'll do is I'll make a duplicate of this window. I'll create a duplicate session, and now I'll try to make check the version. So if you look here, now the CMake version is 3.6.2. I'll disconnect the previous session. So now we know like the CMake version is updated. Now what we can do is we can go to this particular folder and run the command. So let's go to cd SIPp. So we are into this folder, and now what we can do is we can run the command. We'll run this command. Okay, so it's written. Now we'll just type make. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll again pause the video for now. We'll resume it once this make is completed. Okay, so this is completed. Now I'll close this note, minimize this notepad, and we'll see now. Okay, so I think I can run the SIPp commands now, because I just enter this // and SIPpp, and I can further put the parameters and run the SIPp server. So this is how you basically install a SIPp server on a CentOS machine. And now in the next video, what we are going to do is we are going to run this command and do some further load testing on the call manager and see how the calls are appearing. How can we bulk generate calls using this server, right? I hope this video is informative for you. Thank you for watching.